is waiting. The bar's got that swing. Glasses clink, hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. The sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Vasalut and welcome. We've made it halfway through the week. Isn't that wonderful? Everything from here on out is just heading straight towards the weekend. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're looking forward to your weekend as well. Let's just jump in and say hi to everybody, because honestly, that's the best part for me. I so look forward to seeing all of you. Starting with Big Al of Big Al Presents, who says, happy WTF Wednesday, Liquid Lunchers. Hope you have a great stream, my friends. Well, thank you so much. I know Netter's tied up with some meetings today, but she stopped in to call me the love of her life and ask everyone to like, share, subscribe, become a member, leave a comment, gift a membership. Yes, thank you so much. Super appreciate that. If you can and would be willing to do any one or all of the above, really does help us out. Suzanne is back. Welcome back to membership. You were gifted a membership last night by RubyHoove. Glad to see you here. And Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube, one of my first members. Thank you so much for being here, Connie. Jonathan Conroy says, hail all, smash the like button, and enjoy the show. Yes, I do hope that each one of you do enjoy the show. Rosefire, I want to call you the comment queen. When you leave comments, they are insightful and thoughtful. Good afternoon, everyone, on this Wednesday hump. Yes, I suppose this show represents coming up on the peak of that hump, and right after it, we're over the other side. over the other side. I found a Time book from 2010 that insisted, through extensive research, the oceans are not rising, so the world isn't ending. Really? Really? Yeah. We have, if you do real geology, right? Real understanding of plate tectonics and, what has happened in the geothermal layers throughout time, you can kind of see what has been above water and below water going back millions of years. And there's some interesting things. You find out that there was big water masses like in the middle of Europe for a while, and then that was gone. Actually, the whole Mediterranean was a desert for a period. And literally there was one day, 1,000,000 years ago, thereabouts, where the water just came rushing back in again. These things happen. But by and large, if you're within, 100 miles of the coast, you have never been underwater in the time that humans have existed. But when you get closer to the coast, yeah, that water goes up and down all the time. It's called the tide. Merpaw! Watching trains and lurking. That's what you do, my friend. Hope you're having a great afternoon. Let's see. Guys all saying hi to each other. Matanui, haven't seen you in a bit. Thanks for being here, my friend. Let's see. Rosefire got some car repairs. I got to take my car in the next couple weeks for my regular updates, but I need to replace my tires. Hoping I can get a good deal on that. I'll have to give them a call and see if they're running special. It's heating up. We're doomed. No, son. It's just summer. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. So true. It's funny. I was literally just watching Culture Casino before this, and completely unrelated, he got off on a little bit of a climate change thing. And he was pointing out that when we were kids, we were told that there was going to be a new ice age, and we were all going to be under glaciers. And that didn't happen. So then it became global warming instead. But any real climate, science, looks at, the temperatures over time and realizes there has not been significant fluctuation in the past, 100 generations, really. In fact, we have not put enough emissions into, and they want to point to human action causing climate change and whatnot. Do you know what the most significant human impact on weather has been, on climate? It was about 400 or 500 years ago. Native Americans burned down huge sections of the West. Burned it down, just like what's happening in California right now. But they did it intentionally to clear land. There was so much ash and smoke thrown up into the atmosphere that it literally dropped temperatures in the northern hemisphere for years. Kid you not. You can look that up. But then again, you look at, was it Krakatoa that erupted, resulting in the year without a summer, which happened to have been the year that Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. That's a great story too, actually. The story behind Frankenstein. Frankenstein's a good story too, but Yeah, we need to keep things in perspective. Okay, well, take care, Suzanne. Thanks for stopping in. Super appreciate it. And here I thought the Beatles were the greatest source of climate change. Well, yeah, pop culture, maybe. Pop culture, absolutely. And speaking of pop culture, let's get into that a little bit with a little bit of a WTF. Wait a minute. Just under the wire, I happen to see that Samuel Procter snuck in here. Welcome, Samuel Procter. There's new research coming out that the Amazon rainforest might not be as natural as we thought. There's some evidence of ancient black soil created by natives there, planting these trees. Imagine that. Since it's WTF Wednesday, WTF did Star Trek GNW? Or did you mean SNW? Strange New Worlds. Do with the Metrons. Yeah. Well, just keep in mind that's not real Star Trek. That's Kurtzman Trek. That is an entirely different brand. I mean that literally. The word brand is used correctly here. It is literally a different brand of Star Trek. So keep that in mind. That's not an opinion. That's a business and licensing fact. Anyway, let's get into what I wanted to WTF today. Share the screen, the entire screen right there. You don't need the sound because you're already hearing me. And bring it up. Okay. Beast Boy's voice actor claims he was fired by Warner Brothers after Parkinson's diagnosis. WTF? For crying out loud. This comes to us from That Park Place. This article is written by Marvin Montanaro. Great guy. Got to hang out with him last March at MegaCon. And look at that face. I am not the biggest fan of this particular show, but that's not really relevant to this article. Let's get into it. Let me kind of clear up those vocal cords a little bit. The long-running voice of Beast Boy, Greg Sipes, I believe that's how it's pronounced, has come forward with a serious allegation against Warner Brothers. According to Sipes, he was fired from his role as Beast Boy the day after he publicly shared his Parkinson's diagnosis, ending over 2 decades of work with DC's animated projects. Sipes' statement has ignited backlash online, with fans rallying under hashtags like Save Beast Boy, while industry insiders point to creative differences rather than discrimination. Regardless, the situation shines a harsh spotlight on Warner Brothers at a time when the studio can scarcely afford new controversies. Now, real quick, let me back up here again. Long-running voice actor, publicly ending 2 decades of work. He's been working with Warner Brothers for 2 decades, 20 years. For them to now say creative differences? You haven't had creative differences in the past 20 years. And suddenly the day after he announces he's got Parkinson's disease, you decide you have creative differences. Really? It'll be interesting to see how you handle that in court. Greg Sipes first voiced Beast Boy in Teen Titans in 2003 and continued the role in Teen Titans Go, Young Justice, and numerous crossover projects. I did not know they kept the voice actors consistent over all those titles. That's very interesting. Yes, the Horror King Welcome, by the way, and yes, Savages, no doubt about it. Let's see. To generations of DC fans, his upbeat, playful performance was inseparable from the character. Earlier this year, Sipes revealed he had been diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's disease, he now claims that Warner Brothers terminated him almost immediately thereafter. Yeah, I would say the day after the announcement, that's pretty immediate. Look at this. He literally has a throw of Teen Titans Go in his... Oh, and he's got a comic book of it there too. See, he really is a fan of the show he's on, you know? Warner Brothers literally fired me on Valentine's Day right after I publicly shared my Parkinson's diagnosis, Sipes wrote in a social media post. He described the experience as feeling like a death and alleged that executives wanted to replace him with a mimic who could copy his voice for Teen Titans Go next season. Supporters close to Sipes allege that the rest of the cast opposed the decision, telling executives the show would not be the same without him. Fans have since rallied online accusing Warner Brothers of discrimination and demanding his reinstatement. Right here, I want to pause and point out that this kind of outrage and the use of social media to vent that outrage can literally change the world. Your voice can change the world. Now, when I say your voice, not necessarily individually, although potentially, I mean all voices together in unison. Because remember, if you get outraged and you decide to turn away from these properties, Warner Brothers is left holding an empty bag. They must listen to you or die. That's really the case. We've seen it happen with Cracker Barrel. Just recently, we've seen it happen with Cracker Barrel. I'm still waiting for that horn-rimmed glasses chick to get fired, but be that as it may, the outcry really does make a difference. I could point out political areas too where that's true, but that's not where we're going today. So while Sipes frames his firing as retaliation for disclosing his illness, sources connected to Warner Brothers tell a different story. Okay, let's get the other side of this. According to Deadline via The Wrap, insiders insist the move was not about Parkinson's at all. Instead, they claim Beast Boy was being recast due to creative and performance considerations. These are problems that came up not before in the past 20 years. The report suggests Sipes has allegedly recorded lines for a different character in the same series. So, Warner Brothers discussed a possible development deal with him for future projects. You better get that in writing, because otherwise it means nothing, and it won't mean anything in court. The studio did not remove other longtime cast members and has no official policy excluding actors with health conditions. Well, of course, because if you had an official policy, it would be illegal. It would be illegal, and you would have the Department of Justice on your ass. Morons. In other words, the studio frames this not as a firing in a punitive sense, but as a creative shift. Creative shift of just this one person that you haven't had a problem with for 20 years. Just saying. I think in terms of the court case. I really missed my calling. I should have gone into law. Even if Warner Brothers insists the decision was unrelated to his health, the timing raises questions. You think? Sipes says he was fired as Beast Boy one day after publicly disclosing Parkinson's diagnosis. Executives have been also accused of pushing to recast his role with a sound-alike rather than rewriting Beast Boy or allowing Sipes to continue. So I still, in their perspective on why they were doing this, I did not see any reason why. What are these creative differences? Maybe you should tell us what kind of creative differences they are. Because if you're replacing him with a sound-alike, it's not like you want to go a different route with the character. Or do you have creative differences with him personally? Did he maybe express an opinion you didn't agree with? How did that go for Disney with Gina Carano? Just saying. I'm not saying that was the case. I'm just saying if it is. For fans, it looks like discrimination. It sure does. Whether or not that was the intent. Yeah. You're going to have to prove what your intent actually was. Not just say it. Demonstrate it. Get specific. That's what disclosure is in a court case. I really do hope this goes to a court case. Employment law in the U.S. does prohibit firing someone solely due to a medical condition, and Parkinson's qualifies as a protected disability. If Sipes pursues legal action, Warner Brothers could face a very public fight over the workplace protections in Hollywood. Same venue that Gina brought her lawsuit. So if it does turn out to be in any way related to something he may have said, an opinion, could be very, very interesting. Why this matters for DC animation. The situation arrives at a delicate moment for Warner Brothers Discovery. DC's live-action projects under James Gunn and Peter Safran are already under intense scrutiny, with some fans skeptical about the direction of the reboot universe. Losing a beloved animated staple like Greg Sipes only adds to the perception of instability. Yeah, and jackassery, in my opinion. Teen Titans Go remains one of Cartoon Network's most recognizable titles, and Beast Boy is central to the show's dynamic. Recasting him risks alienating longtime fans, especially when the reason appears tainted by allegation of discrimination. If it's not discrimination over a medical condition, then what is it discrimination over? They better start disclosing what this creative difference is. On social media, anger is building. Many see the situation as a blatant betrayal of an actor who gave 20 years of service to Warner Brothers. The fan-led push to restore Sipes has been strong, with thousands of posts spreading the Save Beast Boy campaign. Some even appealed directly to DC Studios head James Gunn, arguing that if DC's Elseworld projects can experiment with casting, then loyalty to iconic voices should matter in animation. The optics for Warner Brothers is already poor. Whether or not the firing was tied to Parkinson's, the perception of dumping an actor after a health disclosure is disastrous for public relations. See, that's the other thing, too. Even if the Parkinson's isn't the reason for it, really, this guy's giving you 20 years of service, and when he is about to enter a phase of his life where he's going to have a debilitating medical condition, a debilitating and deteriorating medical condition, you're just going to throw him out in the street. That looks real good. That's a very corporate America kind of thing to do. At the heart of the story is one painful reality. Greg Sipes helped define Beast Boy for an entire generation of DC fans, and he was fired shortly after disclosing a terrible illness. His voice is the character. If the Beast Boy actor was indeed fired the day after sharing his Parkinson's diagnosis, Warner Brothers faces accusations of callousness that will not fade easily. Yeah, that's terrible optics. And perception is reality when it comes to getting fans to patronize you. Doesn't matter if you didn't even... Best case scenario, I'm going to steel man their argument. We didn't even know he had Parkinson's. We don't follow their personal social medias. We didn't know about it. It was just a coincidence of timing. Right? That could very well be. Doesn't matter. Because whatever the reality is, this is the perception. And if all of your fans turn on you because of a false perception, too bad, you're still broke. It'll be interesting to see what happens to that Cartoon Network license. Even if the studio's explanation of creative differences is true, it's hard to argue that the timing wasn't catastrophic. When fans hear Beast Boy fired, they don't think about creative shifts. They think about an actor punished for getting sick. And I would say even, again, what creative shift? Are you taking the narrative in a way that this voice actor can't pivot with? What makes him not useful to you because of a creative shift, right? Unless it's political, which would have to come out in disclosure, and that would become part of the lawsuit. Again, see Carano versus Disney. Warner Brothers has not issued an official statement. Until it does, the backlash will continue to grow, and DC Animation risks alienating one of its most loyal fan bases. For now, Beast Boy's future is uncertain, but Greg Sipes has already made his mark. Fans aren't likely to let the studio forget this. Forget it. And I can't help but think this directly mirrors the way I've seen DC Comics treating its artists over the years. You created this character, but you're getting too much money from us now, so we are going to fire you, and we are going to do a retcon on the character to change aspects of it so we don't have to pay you royalties. That's literally what they do. This is why the Superboy character has been altered so many times over the years, whether he was a costume superhero as Superboy or whether he wasn't and he didn't develop his powers until later, or if what was the other one? Or the costume Superboy wasn't Clark Kent as a young man, but a clone instead. They do these things every so often to stop paying a previous creator who came up with a storyline and paying them residuals and start with something new. This is why they do this. This is also why it's illegal to fire people because of age. But of course you have to figure out a way to prove it. But if someone starts making too much money, well, it'd be a lot cheaper to fire them and hire someone that at entry level for a whole lot less. Well, that's illegal, but prove that's what they did. What they'll do is they say, well, we eliminated that position, and then we created a new position. See, that's what they say. Anyway, I think I need a drink, and I want to show off some new promos. So I'll be right back in 3 minutes, 20 seconds. See you on the other side of that.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This Thursday night, it's getting a bit spooky around Netter's Network as she sits down with a mysterious YouTuber you may or may not know. Netter will be discussing personal experiences with ghosts and hauntings with I Am the 13th Child this Thursday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Netter's Network.
This week on Netter's Network Retro Cinema, when there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson, the Ghostbusters. It's a scary job, but somebody's gotta do it. This week on Netter's Network Retro Cinema, Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Papa Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it somewhere else, but Boomer and Pacelli put a spin on it you likely won't hear anywhere else. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
This week, on Live from Sparkwood and 21, we'll experience and discuss an adult animated web series about the routines of a dull-witted man named Randy who lives with his frazzled wife and squeaky-voiced child. This web series, created and voiced by David Lynch, had been called the angriest cartoon in the world. Join us for Dumbland this Tuesday night at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
On board Scorpio, Vila intercepts a transmission from Serverland to someone called Cancer, referencing Domo the Ninth and 5 subjects. At first glance, the Federation transmission seems irrelevant. Then Scorpio's crew discover that they are the 5 subjects, and the targets of her contract with Cancer, an infallible, hired assassin. This Tuesday on Last Call presents Blake 7 at 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
I got a bunch of things that I wanted to bring up, but I got to scroll back up to see them. Give me a second here. So, we're also discovering a ton of huge ancient cities buried in the Amazon. Yeah, well, this is what happens when nature starts to encroach on civilization again. It kind of just overtakes it, and it's not easy to find. That rainforest is pretty darn thick. Could be anything hiding in there. Did they wipe each other out, or did natural disasters bury them? Scientific journals don't have solid proof. I'd like if they just admitted they have theories. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, considering it's supposed to be publish or perish, publish your work. Tell us what you found. You can come to your own conclusions. That's fine, but get the data out there. I may be wearing my tinfoil hat, but could it be that Warner Brothers claims due to his Parkinson's, or did he say something they don't agree with? Either way, it's not going to go very well for them because he will be suing in California. Neither one of those is going to go well for Warner Brothers, and it could be both. I would argue both and make them defend both. Hey Troy, I was wondering which one of you guys was planning a Carrie watch party in October, or was it Al? I wanted to mark it on my calendar so I don't forget like I did last week. Double check with Al. That I don't remember exactly, but that sounds like I think that's something that Al's got coming up. No, Netter's not doing Carrie. I didn't have plans to do Carrie. That could very well be Big Al. I think it is. Even someone like me sees this as an HR issue with a PR disaster that's going to end badly. Yup. And here's the funny thing, too. This is exactly the thing that HR departments are supposed to exist for. I don't know how many of you know this, but there is a perception that HR exists to protect the employee, and that is not the case. HR exists to protect the company, usually from itself, from making bad moves, and so indirectly it does end up protecting the employees because the HR is supposed to know the employment laws, which do exist to protect the employee, and make sure that the company complies with them, because otherwise lawsuits. I mean, that's the bottom line. HR's job is to keep the company from getting sued. Unfortunately, in the past decade or so, it has become more about pushing DEI bologna sausage, as Culture Casino calls it, and not so much protecting companies, which is why now there are all these lawsuits going through and people are winning big time against these companies. These companies are going to find themselves going broke over DEI. Get woke, go broke, right? JoesAtmosfere says, drive by, like, and share. Hail to the midday mixology. Thank you so much. I will be hanging out with JoesAtmosfere tomorrow. Tomorrow, right after Liquid Lunch, on the Pop Culture Archivists, and really every Thursday going forward. You saw that in the promos. Teen Titans Go isn't my cup of tea, but original Teen Titans is hilarious. More wacky and retro-inspired than other DC shows, but clever writing and comedy. But the Slade episode was grim. I have to admit I didn't see any of these cartoons. I was a big fan of the comics. So I know Slade, I know Jericho, I know the origins of these characters, the transition of Robin to Nightwing, the very tragic backstory of Beast Boy, later Changeling. I actually do feel like the Teen Titans was in a lot of ways DC's answer to the X-Men, in that it was stories that was a bit angsty, kind of real world type gritty, and the kinds of things that teenagers could really relate to. Some really, really good stories there. I don't know much about these cartoons. Creative differences is code for everyone hates each other. Well, I would agree with you, except, again, this guy's been at it for 20 years. So 20 years and suddenly now they decide they can't work with him anymore. And all of his co-workers have come out saying, no, this is bad. We don't like this. We are not happy about this. So it sounds more like some higher up pencil pusher more than anyone else. Eagle? That's a sick bird. Well, this sick green bird just got fired by Warner Brothers, and I hope he does sue. Geek Flag with Nate Knows says, like, share, subscribe, comment, become a member. With membership, you get access to a month of Mondays of movies. Yeah, Members Night at the Movies every Monday for members only. I don't know, Troy. Somebody getting fired by a major company because they're becoming sick doesn't smell right to me. I think there's something else here. Yeah, that's what most of the fans are saying. And honestly, at this point, they're almost going to have to prove otherwise. The allegation has been made. And I did not see a comment from the Horror Cat Dad. I don't see it in my YouTube, and I'm not seeing it in stream in EVMux. But Netter says you're here, so hi to the Horror Cat Dad. I'm sorry I missed your comments. But let's get back to the general comments. Those were just the ones that I had selected. Show all. Where are we at? Oh, I'm way behind on the comments. Hold on. Where are we at? Doesn't smell right to me. I'm not a huge fan of Teen Titans Go either, but I will admit some of the clips I see from it where Robin randomly talks about stuff like how the IRS works is admittedly funny. Yeah, exactly. Still, one of my favorite Teen Titans quotes from Raven and Beast Boy: I respect that you don't eat meat. Please respect that I don't eat fake meat. There you go. Oh, and there's Big Al saying, yeah, October 4th on his channel is Carrie at 10 p.m. Eastern. So, yep, make sure you get that on your calendar. Unless they outsource HR to overseas. Just saying. Well, that is the company's own fault. You get what you pay for. And if you found it cheaper to outsource to an HR department overseas that may or may not be keyed into American employment law, you get what you pay for. I remember having to deal with HR at a previous job. It was like getting blood from a stone. Yup. Because again, their motivations are not what you think they are, usually. Troy, are you talking about the EEOC? Yep, that's part of it. That is part of it. The more you get to know Beast Boy and his backstory, you realize he has every reason to cry. That's absolutely right. But he'd rather make himself and his friends laugh, even if he's the butt of his own jokes. And that does come through, even though the comics were not, ha-ha funny. He does come off with the quippy lines and stuff, little Peter Parker-esque. And that's I don't want to call it a trope, but it is almost an archetype in and of itself. This tragic character who copes through humor, right? The sad clown concept. I read a great 80s Teen Titan issue about Wonder Girl's origin. Who is Donna Troy? I remember that. I've got that. It was actually a series within the span. It's called, which admittedly changed for like the third time or something. Yeah. So I'll try not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but Wonder Girl, which is who Donna Troy is, started out as an accident. There was a Wonder Woman comic that was dealing with time travel. And because Wonder Woman is a very long-lived, almost immortal character, she was, her original origin was like Pygmalion. She was sculpted from clay and given life by the female gods of the Greek pantheon. And so, it was a feminist story, right? Created by a mother with no father and female gods. No male was involved. This is why I get so angry when they try to make her Zeus's daughter. It's like, no. Or was it Zeus? Yeah, Zeus's daughter. I'm like, you're literally doing the opposite of what you claim to be in favor of. You're literally doing the opposite of the feminist message that she was built on. I digress. The storyline involved an adult Wonder Woman, a teenage Wonder Woman, and a young girl Wonder Woman. So 3 different stages of her age meeting up, kind of like, the 3 Doctors or something like that, and having an adventure together. Later on, when they were doing the whole sidekick thing, Batman and Robin and Kid Flash and the Flash and so on and so forth, they said, oh, well, we need a Wonder Girl, and look, here's a comic with Wonder Girl in it. There we go. There's Wonder Girl. Not realizing, because they didn't bother to read the comic, oh, that's just her as a younger girl, right? So then they had to come up with an origin story for her. And they had this interesting story where Wonder Woman rescues an orphan girl who it was I want to say it was an accident at sea. Her parents are drowned, but Wonder Woman saves the little girl, brings her back to Paradise Island to be raised among the Amazons. So she basically learns the abilities of the Amazons, then returns with Wonder Woman as a mentor to man's world. She becomes Wonder Girl. She takes up the name Donna Troy. I'm sure the Troy being a Trojan-related naming scheme. I don't know that for a fact. And then when the Crisis on Infinite Earths happens, and they completely rebooted Wonder Woman, so she's first time coming to man's world in the 80s, that completely wipes out Donna Troy's backstory and how could she have been born, and rescued by Wonder Woman if Wonder Woman didn't exist yet. And so that was what led into the Who is Donna Troy. They were basically looking to retcon her history, and yes, it will be retconned a number of times more. You can put Wonder Girl in the same bin with Power Girl and a number of other characters that they want to keep alive. But what's her name? Helena Bertinelli, formerly Helena Wayne, the Huntress. They keep getting their origins rebooted because the other main characters get updated and rebooted. I wonder why they never called Slade by his real comic book name, Deathstroke, in the Teen Titans series. Deathstroke sounds pretty nasty. Sounds like something they wouldn't want to put into a kid's cartoon. In the original comics, he was called the Terminator. Yes, Deathstroke the Terminator, more often than the other names, as I remember it. Yeah, exactly. And his name, Slade Wilson, which is a direct parallel to Wade Wilson in Marvel, Deadpool, Deathstroke. That was intentional. Teen Titans show was geared towards a younger audience, and that's why they went with Slade instead of Deathstroke. Yeah, that was my speculation. The point is, someone is citing creative differences. Someone couldn't get along. Well, that needs to come out then in court, and when it does, that's not going to go very well for the company either. What are the creative differences? After 20 years, you have a creative difference with him? What are you changing that the 20-year fans are not going to like? That's my point. Ditch the mask. You don't need it. What about my secret? What secret identity? What secret identity? You're green. Yes, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. And that's actually a reference to the fact in the comics that he did have a public identity, but his first costume did involve a mask. So it was kind of pointless. So when he made the change from Beast Boy to Changeling, he changed his outfit and he got rid of the mask. Because exactly right. It's like, yeah, everyone knows who I am. When you see a green eagle flying at you, you know it's not an eagle. You know it's me, you know. Take care, Rosefire. May your cup overflow with happiness. Well, that is always the go, because when the booze goes in, the sadness has to go somewhere else. Troy, I hate about DC Comics is that they had to cancel or write episodes involving Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl in the Batman Beyond series and the Teen Titans series because of the first episodes. I'll take your word for that. I don't know anything about that. One other thing I'll say about Wonder Girl. There is another Wonder Girl that people don't talk about much. She's only ever gotten an Easter egg in the comics. But in the Linda Carter Wonder Woman series, she had a Wonder Girl sister by the name of Drusilla, played by a very young Deborah Winger. So I've always wondered why they couldn't develop that. You know, Donna Troy could be her identity in Man's World, but she could actually be an Amazonian named Drusilla. They could have done that. They haven't. They probably should. Here, lawyer, sue. I agree. Please do. And there's the Horror King. Hi there, good to see you. Wade Wilson came later, but I hear very mixed things on whether or not he was an intentional parody or just a flat-out ripoff. There's a lot of that between DC and Marvel. Look at Darkseid and Thanos. Look at the Eternals and the New Gods. And this also has to do with creators working for both companies. So it happens. It happens. Is in a book containing several Deadpool comics, one of which brings his first appearance, and he's basically a Deathstroke that never learned to shut up. Yep. Deadpool was done as a parody of Deathstroke. I mean, I feel like Deadpool exists to be parody, period. You know, that makes perfect sense. Although I would love to see like one of those DC Marvel crossovers again, where they pair up Deadpool with Ambush Bug. I think that would be brilliant. Both of them knowing that they are characters in a comic book, and specifically a comic book that's a crossover of two different companies. The creator of Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl won't allow the characters to be used in a series if they are going to be used as one-off characters or come out in only one episode. Well, here's the thing. The original creator of Wonder Woman, what was his name? Marsden, I believe is his name. He's dead, so he doesn't really have a say in it. The character is owned completely by DC Comics now. You could argue whether or not his estate has anything to say about it. But this is exactly why Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers, DC Comics, makes the decisions they do. This is what I was referring to. Superman. They specifically did things with the Superboy character to screw Siegel and Schuster out of residuals. So they're going to do the same thing with Wonder Girl, with Wonder Woman, with every other person. So they do it all the time. The dude you're calling clone, you're a Deathstroke ripoff. You stole Spider-Man's eyes and Snake Eyes weapons. You've got Wolverine's powers. Man, you comic sloppy seconds. Yeah, exactly. Deadpool versus Boba Fett. Epic rap battles of history video. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I love that idea. That's a brilliant idea. Well, today is Wednesday, so I don't have anything up on my docket tonight, which means I am going to be working on some projects, some physical projects for some videos that I want to get filmed before the end of the year. Get some live streams posted for the rest of the week, and possibly start working on some longer term videos that I want to get done. And I can do that because no netter, I don't have a D&D game tonight. Apparently my DM is having family in from out of town, and he therefore has to do, his words, not mine, family shit tonight. So that's the way it goes. Anyway, so I do hope you enjoyed my little HR related rant today, and our comic talk. By all means, please leave a comment on any one of these Liquid Lunch videos. Let me know what you guys would like to talk about during lunch. I'll just keep doing what I want to do, but I am very, very, very open to whatever topics you guys would like to talk about going forward. Tomorrow I want you to start thinking about what you're thankful for, because tomorrow is Thankful Thursday. And until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful time. Support the YouTubers that you love, because this is probably one of the hardest times right now for content creators on this particular platform. Hoping things change for the better, but they have recently changed for the very, very worse. So I thank all of you for all the ways you support me. I know you try. We're all trying together. Together we grow. You guys take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.